So first of all, maybe you could just tell us, have you seen any market trends that you think are a direct result of COVID?
It's been really interesting. We all expected at the beginning that COVID would change the market significantly, but I think it's actually changed in a very different way than we anticipated. Initially, when everything first happened and the lockdown happened, we saw what we expected, is that everything ground to a halt. Buyers stopped buying, sellers pulled their homes off the market, everything really kind of slowed down. But it didn't last very long. And so I think there's been a lot of speculation about why that is, like why hasn't it slowed things down more. And so I think a couple of the things that we're seeing is once the buyers who still had their jobs realized they had their jobs, in that respect, not a lot changed for them. Once that initial fear of do I have a job was over, then people settled in to, okay, this is kind of just the new normal, but their finances were in the same place. I think we saw more sellers backing out of the market than buyers. So sellers were more wary about having a lot of people through their homes. Open houses were no longer allowed. It got more onerous with showings in terms of cleaning and things like that. And so I think a lot of sellers decided to just wait it out, whereas buyers didn't necessarily. Interest rates are still phenomenally low. People still had jobs. And now they had the additional motivation of spending all of their time at home and really realizing the things about their space that didn't work, whether it's that the space was too small or they didn't have a home office or whatever it is, that thing that's always sort of bothered you about your home. When you're living in it full time with everyone in your family, I think folks really started to realize it's like, okay, this is going to continue for a while. We really have to get a bigger house or a better layout or that swimming pool or whatever it is that they didn't have before. We are definitely seeing a trend of people buying bigger houses. We're also seeing a trend of people moving more out of the city centers. So we're seeing migration, everyone seems aware of the migration from the Bay Area, right? If you're working from home, why would you pay $1 million to live in a shoebox in San Francisco when you can pay $500,000 and live in a 3,000 square foot house out here? But there's also a lot of migration actually from kind of the more urban areas of Sacramento further out into Placer County, up into Rockland, Auburn. People want a little more elbow room, both in terms of the home itself, and you can get more bang for your buck out there than here, but also in terms of the space around. This whole concept of social distancing has sort of spread to our houses, this idea that we want our houses, we want a little more land, we want a little more room from our neighbors, even in terms of how close the homes are. And then obviously the square footage, now you have to have a home office, maybe two, you probably have to have a home classroom. We're also really seeing a trend towards pools, which kind of seems obvious in Sacramento, like everybody, but again, that realization of we're kind of trapped at home and having more useful outdoor space, whether it's patio space, larger yard, swimming pool, those are things that we're seeing more and more on buyers' lists, and they're willing to pay a premium for it.
So if we know that people are buying bigger homes, they're migrating to Placer and El Dorado County, they like pools, what does a buyer or seller do with that information?
Not a lot, because you can't change what you have, right? So as a seller, obviously, maybe put in a pool, although pools have always been one of those risky investments. You're not really going to get the money back out that you've put in, so I always recommend putting one in if you like it, but otherwise, don't bother. But just being aware, if you're looking to sell right now, if you have one of those homes that is larger, more desirable, has a pool, those homes are tending to go faster than, if you're trying to sell a loft in the middle of downtown right now. Same thing on the buyer's side, you're going to be in higher competition on a home like that because there's more folks that are interested. That being said, we have a huge pool of buyers across the spectrum. So if we're looking at general trends, yes, those are the things that buyers are asking for, but we also have a whole host of buyers who are just looking to get into a home while these interest rates are amazing. And so that is definitely not a suggestion that if you don't have a pool or you live in less than 3,000 square feet, it's a terrible time to sell. The truth is, it's a fantastic time to sell no matter where you are in the home spectrum, because there are buyers who can't afford 3,000 square feet and can't afford a pool, and they are still dying to take advantage of these under 3% interest rates. We are also seeing huge numbers of offers on smaller, more moderately priced homes. I just wrote an offer for a client. There were 16 offers on the home. Even without a pool, even without 3,000 square feet, homes are selling like hotcakes.